Hi everyone, what's up? Welcome back. Josh here with something we've all been waiting for. Now, if you're an invested home barista or perhaps running a small coffee shop looking for a great grinder offering versatility, you're going to want to stick around for this. Today we're diving into the Varia VS6 coffee grinder. Now, I'm not avoiding the endgame label here, yet it does seem to offer so much value, like there's no room to improve upon. And we will see if that's really the case throughout this video. Yet, imagine a coffee grinder that not only delivers a superior grind, it's now adaptable to your specific brewing methods with endless ability to manipulate flavor profiles. So it's not I brew espresso, therefore I buy this grinder, or I only like this specific Burr profile, so I buy this grinder. The Varia VS6 offers much of what you could ask for in any grinder. Intrigued? Well, you should be. And if you do come to enjoy this video, a big like would go a long way to help this channel, and subscribe if you haven't already. All right, let's waste no more time. Let's dive into it. So what truly makes the Varia VS6 stand out? Well, first off, and easily the most exciting part, I wasn't just about to start at the top of the hopper here, is interchangeable burst styles. This grinder comes factory fitted with 58mm flat burrs, yet you can easily switch to 63mm conical burrs without any calibration needed. Now, these conical burrs are available to purchase separately, and I've thrown links in the description down below. And the ability to change burst styles opens up an unrestricted avenue of flavors and how your coffee will brew. And naturally, Varia have also brought out alternative burr sets with varying geometries and coatings for both flat and conical burrs, so comparisons are bound to get interesting here with follow-up videos on these burr sets. Now, couple this with variable motor speed that controls the RPM of the burrs from 500 to 1600 RPM, allowing you to fine-tune your grind speed. And this adjustment also lets you dial in a grind distribution, as the burr's spinning speed also impact how efficaciously the coffee beans get ground up. And it's this multifaceted combination of different burr styles, burr geometries, and the RPM adjustment, to my knowledge, is a world first for shipping out of the box just like this. And I will put a warning out here, it is a deep rabbit hole, people. If you are absolutely wanting to nerd out on grinding and brewing coffee right now, I can't think of a better grinder to do that with. And we'll certainly come back to have a look at these features a little bit more later on in this video. I think it is now time to begin a top-down look though of the Varia VS6. Design-wise, it's sleek, it's modern, and it has that minimalist feel that matches the brand DNA of Varia to a T. Made from machined aluminium, sitting on that 76.5 degree slope, which assists in limitation of retention for the most part. It is a splitting image of its little sister, the Varia VS3, yet it towers over it. With a single dosing hopper that has an inbuilt popcorn screen, this hopper holds a maximum of 80 grams of coffee. It comes with a magnetic lid that you can add to it, or on top you can also add an additional funnel and call it quits here, or then add a further bellows to complete the hopper assembly. Yet my personal preference with the hopper assembly is to keep this funnel off and then just rest the bellows on top of the hopper, and I'll explain why a little later on in the video. To adjust the grind size, you twist the hopper and use the magnetically attached sight ring to know what grind size you're on. And the numbers range from 0 to 9, with individual marks making out 5 microns of adjustment to the grind size. You will notice an accumulation of dots above the large numbers, and these are indicators to what rotation on the grind dial you're on. I will say that this grind dial is super smooth to adjust, almost too smooth. However, the Varia VS6 comes calibrated out of the box already with the 0 point marked, and there is no calibration needed either out of the box or when changing the burrs on the VS6. Next is the adjustable motor speed, or the RPM of the burrs. This is adjusted by tapping the grinder on from the one button on the machine and then twisting that button up or down as a dial to program the RPM from the screen. And a simple workflow would be you adjust the grind, then add your beans, tap the grinder on, adjust the RPM, tap the button once more to begin grinding, and the VS6 also has an auto off feature, so the grinder is going to turn itself off automatically if you're occupied otherwise. The grinder uses a 300-watt brushless DC motor, which does powerfully grind through harder beans on a fine grind adjustment at low RPM settings. I personally haven't experienced any stalling on the VS6 putting it through its paces, though in saying that I am using a light roast that's not super hard. Here I would say to use common sense if you do discover it stalls on you, which is feed the beans in at a slower rate with the burrs turning rather than dumping in the whole dose and then cold starting, and this will avoid that altogether. Now, the default burrs on the Varia VS6 are a 58mm flat burr of a standard espresso geometry. Yet these are a blind set of burrs, meaning that there are no screws holding these burrs in place, so no areas for grounds to be further retained in the grinds chamber. Instead, Varia manufacture the burrs and the burr carrier as one part, enabling them then to maximize the reliability in alignment with consistency. And this also makes changing the burrs very straightforward. To begin with, you unscrew the hopper off and then remove the ring bearing, then lift out the top burrs, undo that middle nut, and then lift out the bottom burrs along with any washers. And then you're able to replace these burrs with a new set and place everything back in reverse without any concerns for alignment. It's not something you're going to be doing all the time, though you needn't be afraid of upgrading to a new burr set when you're ready. Next, and a little bit tricky to show, is the Varia VS6 comes with anti-static ionization needles. And these work by neutralizing the static electricity that builds up during use of the grinder. And these needles will prevent particles of grounds sticking to the chute and the body of the grinder as they exit into the dosing cup. The chute itself is magnetically attached, so it's really easy to remove and clean. And this also has an inbuilt knocker to it. So with it installed, pull down the chute and it'll flick back up to remove any stubborn grounds that are inside further up the chute. Below this, the catch cup, also magnetically aligned to the chute, holds a maximum of 35 grams of coffee without creating a mess. It's also designed to fit perfectly into a 58mm portafilter for ease of transferring grounds when making espresso. Alright, so now we're going to test the speed and the noise of the Varia VS6. I've got 20 grams of espresso beans here. Just going to quickly RDT this. There we go. We're using the default flat burrs on the VS6. I'm also going to do an espresso grind setting of around 2. Add my beans. There we go. And we're going to be using an RPM setting of 1100. Which is conveniently halfway between 500 and 1600 almost. It's also my favorite RPM setting to use with flat burrs. I find you get some benefits of the low RPMs, but also some benefits of the high RPMs. Let's grind these beans. Start the clock. Oh, man. Nice, no more beans in there. Looks good. Smells delicious. Let's now take a look at grinds across a range of popular grind sizes as well as the spectrum on the RPM for a comparison. Now, in terms of the flavor profile for the VS6, there is a lot to unpack here. Using the default flat burrs at 3 separate RPM settings of 500, 1100, and 1600 RPM, the lower RPM espresso shot produced a mellow, low sweet and acidic shot that had a well-rounded, creamy body and a lingering aftertaste. The 1100 RPM shot produced heightened acidity and a thin, fast finishing body with lingering sweetness in the shot. And then the 1600 RPM espresso produced a balance of acidity and sweetness with a rich, structured body and prolonged sweet finish. So there was really 3 distinct flavor profiles that I could find and a slightly coarser grind each time, dialing in at the different RPM settings. Now I really wanted to test conical burrs in the comparison to flat burrs here, and this was the first time testing conical burrs at higher RPMs for espresso. The 500 RPM test produced a muted, sweet and acidic shot, though the espresso was really well balanced and had an enjoyable creamy body, much like the flat burrs low RPM test did, though it was much more rich with a more nutty flavour than any other espresso I had tasted with the VS6. And it did have a very smooth, lingering finish. Yet, any shots I tested above 600 RPM using the conical burrs just produced turbo shots. And whilst I was eventually able to get shots around the 18 to 20 second shot time, where I was aiming for around the 24 to 26 second shot time and 36 grams out, this really left no room for the grind dial, and you really shouldn't be grinding this fine as it took far too long to grind out. So that's the conical burrs at higher RPMs. It's almost unachievable for espresso, though it would be interesting to test conical burrs at high RPMs for filter coffee and see what that produced. We might save that for another video though. Let's now talk about some of the limitations to the Varia VS6 coffee grinder. And the first one that comes to mind is the grinder uses proprietary burrs, which means you are currently limited to Varia's own burr offerings, and this could be a deal breaker. However, Varia do provide that extensive range of alternative burrs with different styles, coatings, geometries, so you're not really left wanting more, and it is good to know that while you are locked into this ecosystem, there is still plenty to explore. Another point to note is the grinder's cleanliness, and this is always a sore point. I'm yet to discover a grinder that truly grinds cleanly. You'll still be using a combination of the RDT spraying and the bellows with the Varia VS6. And then, like all grinders, there's still that small amount of retention and static requiring cleanup after grinding. Now, in cases, it has been more than what I have become accustomed to in using the Varia VS3, but the VS6 is twice the size of the VS3, yet it's not twice as much retention or static, so I still believe it is in line with, or if not better, than market comparisons. Another one is the catch cup. This only holds 35 grams, which can feel limiting given the grinder's size and weight. With the hopper holding more, you might find yourself wishing for a larger catch cup, especially if you're making larger batch brews, as well as wanting to grind directly into a portafilter, which for now Varia hasn't yet explored in the DNA of their grinders. Additionally, I do find beans occasionally need a little bit of a nudge in the hopper where they do get stuck in the anti-popcorn screen. And despite these considerations, the Varia VS6, with its precision grinding capabilities and versatile design, offering both RPM and burr changes, it's a seriously robust choice for the avid home barista or small to medium coffee shop looking to elevate their coffee experience, and any of these considerations are not going to get in the way. Now, when it comes to comparing the Varia VS6 to other grinders on the market, a few key models do come to mind here. The DF83V, the Option O P64, and the Akaya Orbital. Each of these grinders offers unique capabilities such as adjustable RPM and the option to swap burr sets with different grinding needs. Yet, it is the Varia VS6 that stands out though as the only grinder in this lineup that provides conical burr grinding with variable RPM. And this feature alone enables us to explore the absolute depths of coffee flavor profiles. Me being one who was impressed by the VS3's ability to produce clean, vibrant, and transparent coffee with conical burrs at low RPMs, the VS6 promises even more exciting discoveries with further depth of flavor and texture. In cleaning the grinder, this follows very similar procedures to replacing the burrs. By simply accessing the burr chamber and whilst there, removing the bottom burr, you get full access to clean the grinder out fully, being careful to leave the springs in and then placing everything the same way back in. This grinder will be kept in impeccable order and good working condition for many years to come. So what are my final thoughts on the Varia VS6 coffee grinder? Well, it is clear that this grinder brings a lot to the table. So if you are looking for a grinder that provides almost unlimited boundaries for experimenting and forging new flavors in the cup, whilst offering value for money with high performance, the Varia VS6 is definitely worth considering. It is an investment that won't have you looking sideways at other grinders' capabilities, as it's all available with the VS6. Now, for more information or questions on the Varia VS6, add them in the comments section down below and we'll get straight back to you. Also, stay tuned for a taste comparison of Burrs to come. Thank you so much for watching to the end of this video, and we'll see you in the next one.